Another WrestleMania weekend has come and gone, and today we will be discussing all things WWE in Dallas. Ladies and gents, my name is Ricky Nix, and joining me once again is Steven Spivat.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? Ready to talk some wrestling?
I'm okay, yeah.
And also joining us is Mitchell Pereira. Welcome back to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So today we're going to jump around topics regarding WrestleMania weekend in Dallas, TakeOver, Hall of Fame, WrestleMania 32 itself, and finally the latest installment of Monday Night Raw. The very first question I have for you guys, what did you think of the debut of Enzo and Cass, and how long does it take for them to win the titles? Steve?
I think the debut is long overdue.
Okay, yeah.
Ever since TakeOver London, I think that should have been the send-off from NXT to the main roster for Enzo and Cass.
Really? Just that first shot at the titles?
Well, they've been tossed around so much in NXT.
Right.
And they were getting very stale. And I think once they...
Not my observation.
I wouldn't say entirely stale, but I think that they were put in a position where...
It's do or die?
They had enough chances.
Yeah.
And
well, no, TakeOver London was just their first chance, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that their first chance?
I think they had a shot like earlier versus Blake and Murphy, and then Alexa Bliss came out and screwed them over. That was like their first shot, but that seems like forever ago now.
But the whole thing is they've been down there forever.
Yeah.
They were down there forever, and it felt like they were going to burn out before they got that chance to make it to the main roster. Mm-hmm. But now that they're here, hey, roll with it. Let's see what they can do.
Right.
Yeah.
Mitch?
I'm thinking they're going to do kind of a AJ Styles type thing, put him in a feud with some tag team, kind of try to get him over with the crowd a little bit, the main roster crowd.
They're already very over.
No, they're
anyway.
already over, but I think they're just going to try to make sure they're over, then throw in the tag title picture. But then again, I don't know, because the division's already weak to begin with, so they might just throw them in it right.
You think the main roster tag team division is weak?
Yes.
See?
Well, how many tag teams do we have? I think
Dudley's,
you could count them on one hand.
Enzo and Cass, New Day,
the League of Nations. But
sure.
We have Primo and Epico coming up now too.
Nobody cares about that.
But it's a tag team.
Yes. Here's the thing about that. I didn't notice that Los Matadores was gone until I saw the promo.
Until you didn't.
Until
they showed up again, right?
Yeah, and then it dawned on me like, oh wait, these guys have been gone. I just realized it. So that lets you know how much I cared about them. So
Yeah,
5, 6 maybe. So
well, you've got
Ascension?
Aiden English and Simon Gotch who are up now.
Ascension. So it's
the Ascension.
There's some tag teams out there. My question is, when, not if, but when Enzo and Cass win the titles, who is it going to be from? Can't be from the New Day since they're faces right now, right?
I don't know. I think I would love to see them up against each other, like, because they're both
Imagine
awesome on the mics. Yeah,
Imagine the promos.
Their mic schools would be awesome in that feud.
And it wouldn't be the first time a face team has gone against a face team.
But they don't do that very often. That's something they usually.
But I think this is the perfect time to do it.
Sells.
I think it's a matter.
Day.
It's a matter of promo versus promo.
Yeah,
I think
that's the main thing.
And it would be a great build to have. They're going. What looks like they're going against the Dudleys right now.
Yeah.
And they're starting something with the Dudleys, but then
that's cool.
What happens after that? That's going to build to what's the next pay-per-view? Extreme Rules?
Payback.
Yeah.
Payback?
They're doing Payback this year.
Okay, so we'll probably get that at Payback, and then there's going to be some sort of build to SummerSlam. So
it seems like a long way off, but is it?
It's
SummerSlam's
really
what, August?
Yeah, August.
Yeah.
4 months.
I guess it seems long
We're already
enough.
deep into the year as it is.
Yeah. I think the New Day is going to drop the title soon anyway.
I think SummerSlam would be a good point for them to drop them.
New Day to drop them at SummerSlam?
Yeah, why
That is
not?
a long reign.
They deserve it.
Yeah. Speaking of deserving, does AJ Styles deserve to be WWE World Champion? Mitch.
It's a hard question because it's like, does he deserve it from what he's been in WWE? Maybe, I don't know.
It's just broad, so.
In general, yes, I think AJ Styles deserves to be, after his long, illustrious career, I think he deserves to at least be in the picture. But I don't think they'll hold off on giving it to him immediately. I think they might have a little decent couple pay-per-view feud.
I think you can look at this two ways. Does he deserve it? Yes.
In the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme of everything, yes. The likelihood of him getting that title is a very different question.
Okay.
We've talked about this off camera, but AJ made his name clearly outside of the WWE.
Yeah.
He's not a homegrown talent, so to speak. So for them to put the title on him would be the first time they put a title on someone that wasn't
A WWE.
a WWE guy.
Yeah.
Plus, everyone wants to keep talking about AJ's age.
Has nothing.
I don't think that has anything to do
No
with
he's
it.
that old, really.
He's as old as John Cena.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that technically makes him old. I mean, 38, but
You still got guys like Taker, who's like 50,
Yeah.
still
yeah, but
going.
they're not putting the title on Taker.
Well, no.
And they're not trying to make Taker the guy. But I think even if they put the title on AJ, he won't be the guy.
No, nobody's asking him to be the guy. Just
And I don't think he'll be the face of the company like
that's a totally different question.
Yeah.
And no, they're not gonna make him the face of the company because it's not WWE creation. But as far
he's
as
not
like
John Cena.
no,
As long as Cena's around, that's going to be the face of the company. Like Hulk Hogan was around, Hulk Hogan was doing basically nothing, and Hulk Hogan was still the face of the company.
Exactly.
So
yeah, grand scheme of things, I'd have to say yes. Naturally, he's deserving. Based on his exploits in the WWE, he's only been here like 3 months. Absolutely not. Do you think they'll put it on him though?
I think it's the start of something.
Okay.
I think it's testing the waters, like they've done with multiple guys before.
Yeah.
I think Vince still has that stigma about WCW and TNA that he's just like, oh, I'm not gonna give them anything.
I think we're kind of turning a tide though. Look at guys like Nakamura and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And I think now that maybe Triple H is kind of working his way into the main creative, there's kind of a changing of the tides.
Let's hope so.
And plus, these guys that aren't WWE creations, and I mean, Kevin Owens isn't a WWE creation, Sami Zayn isn't a WWE creation. Pretty much
Austin Aries, Nakamura,
a lot of the guys
Owens.
you've got down in NXT right now
Cruz.
are indie guys
Yeah,
who
yeah.
made their names on the indie circuit and who have been doing this longer than some of the guys on the main roster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to throw that stigma away and be able to make guys that have already made names for themselves.
Absolutely. So the next question, when does Bayley get called up?
That's easy.
When?
She's going to have a rematch at the next TakeOver.
Okay.
Possibly lose, most likely lose.
Right.
And then she'll come in and have a build to a SummerSlam
Because
match.
that's how everybody.
That's usually how it's done.
Yeah. Usually
I mean,
done.
with
you
the
lose the
exception
title,
of-
you get your rematch, you lose that. Sasha.
With the exception of Sami Zayn because Sami got hurt.
Yeah.
With the exception of Owens because Owens came up with the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how you're going to see it happen.
I definitely love to see a feud with Sasha and Charlotte. Sasha get the title at the same time Sasha get the title at the same time that Bayley loses her rematch, and then around that time SummerSlam would come up.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to try and milk that magic that Sasha and Bayley have with each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, most likely at SummerSlam.
Okay. So she's going to debut the night after SummerSlam or in time for SummerSlam?
Oh,
to
in
have a
time for
match?
SummerSlam,
In time
to
for
have the match at
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. I think that's going to be the first time you see the women's championship put on that grand scale. That might even be a main event.
Because they had their first match at TakeOver Brooklyn, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it'd be like a year anniversary of their first
Yeah.
match, which would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think you might even see that main event.
Yeah,
because
I-
I
Main
think
event
they,
SummerSlam?
Oh yeah,
that'd be cool.
They tested that with TakeOver Respect, and it went over amazingly. So why not put that on a SummerSlam main event?
I don't see that.
And knowing the
happening.
two of them, hell, they could pull it off.
They could pull it off. I just don't see it happening, honestly.
Why? Because you got guys like Roman Reigns.
Hopefully,
What?
Reigns is out of the title picture by that point. Hopefully, someone
Hopefully
else.
Rollins is back.
Yeah, right. Rollins and.
Save us, John Cena.
Save us Rollins, save us Styles, save us anybody but you, Roman. So let me ask you guys this: do you feel like the events of this previous installment of Monday Night Raw signaled change going forward in WWE? Because Vince let Shane, have control
Yeah.
temporarily over Raw. I mean, did it feel like that there was something changing in the air?
I'd like to assume so, because that's why I was really so excited about this weekend, is because I just felt like with this Shane and Undertaker match, and there's talk of the brand split coming back, I just felt like there is a wind of change in the WWE right now, and I think him saying you can run Raw tonight, I think might be a sign of that. And potentially next week he'll come out and it'll add a little bit more to this brand split storyline that potentially might be coming up. So yeah, I think there's some change coming in the air.
What do you think, Steve?
Personally, I think this is just reminiscent of every Monday Night Raw after a WrestleMania for the last however many years.
It was a good Raw, right?
Oh, it was a great Raw. There
Yeah.
were debuts that surprised everyone. It was a post WrestleMania Raw.
The only debut that surprised me, it was a return debut for Cesaro. But
Well, look at Apollo. I didn't expect Apollo to show up on Monday Night Raw.
I didn't expect that either, and I really wish that they hadn't advertised it beforehand. If they'd have just
it would have
let
just
it
happened,
happen,
the world
that
would have
would've been great.
imploded.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, oh, Apollo Crews is going to debut next on Raw. Like, why would you say that? You just ruined the surprise.
It was really lackluster.
I think.
Yeah.
I think it's just the moment where you get those 4 or 5 call-ups to kind of freshen things up through the year.
But we all know that's the case now.
Yeah.
For a post-Mania Raw, guys from NXT or whatever come back or debut, and we know it's to be expected. Like, I knew as soon as they mentioned the Dudleys and the Usos were going to have a tables match, first thing I thought of was Enzo and Cass. I don't know how or why or in what capacity. I just knew something was going to happen, and the next thing you know,
Yo, when Kevin Owens put Zayn through that table and they said he wasn't going to be in the match anymore, and they had like the mystery guy, I'm sitting here going,
like,
Rollins.
I was
Not
thinking,
Rollins.
I was thinking
thinking
Cena.
Rollins.
My thoughts on that were Cena
I
all
thought
the
Cena
way.
too, but I was like, Rollins is coming.
I didn't know who I was. I think I was leaning towards Orton, but you know, he's out too. He's scheduled for a comeback soon.
Yeah.
Eventually, right? He's
gonna come back eventually.
Cesaro was the last on my list,
think-
and then I was kicking myself when he came out. I'm like, of course Cesaro.
I'm not really on the Cesaro train. I don't know.
Oh,
maybe I wasn't
think-
watching a few years ago when he was like really hot, so I guess I just didn't
I
catch
think
on that.
Cesaro needs to just recapture that magic
Yeah.
that he had after he won the first Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, when he became a Paul Heyman guy,
Yeah.
and when
That was short-lived.
he had the extreme potential to be that main event tier guy.
Yeah.
We all know he could do it.
Yeah.
So
Why
I
did the
think-
Paul Heyman thing die so soon? What happened there?
Um,
It's like they had this agreement. They shook hands in the middle of the ring. I barely remember the segment.
Well, before that was when Ryback and Curtis Axel were Paul Heyman guys. That was prior to that,
Yeah.
correct? And I think it kind of went south then,
Yeah.
and they were trying to save it with Cesaro, and then I want to
would've
say
loved that.
Cesaro got hurt at one point or something happened,
no, that was when like Paul was doing his thing with Lesnar, and
or maybe it was just the fact that Lesnar was coming back.
yeah, I think that's what it was.
So,
Ultimately,
it was
I
probably
remember
just
they had a
scrapped.
segment on Raw, and they ultimately shook hands, and that it was like a mutual agreement to like just split ways or whatever. But I'm just trying to figure out like why.
I think Cesaro's a guy that's always been cursed with being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I think maybe now.
Because how long has he been with WWE? It's been a while, right? Since like 2012.
It's been.
It's not earlier.
Yeah, it's been a good amount of time, and he's had his moments.
He's had what one United States U.S. title run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a tag team champion.
Oh, he was.
Probably his best title run in the WWE was as tag team champion with Tyson Kidd. Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I'm
That
thinking of
tag
something
team.
prior.
That tag team was amazing.
I didn't think so.
Really.
Yeah, I didn't like. I'm not a Tyson Kidd guy. I would
I'm
have
not a
rather just
Tyson
seen-
Kidd guy on his own, but when he's in a tag team, I think the guy's second to none.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how. There's certain guys you have that work better in a team than work as a singles guy. And I think
Kidd's
Tyson is
one of
one of
them?
those guys. Yeah.
Who else?
The Usos. I'm
don't
not
care
the
about them
biggest
either
fan.
way.
I don't.
I was
I'm not the
gonna
biggest
say.
fan of the Usos, but I think they work better in a team.
I don't like him either way.
Because you had whichever one of them was injured, and the other was trying to do a singles thing for a while.
Didn't.
It
I
didn't
think
work.
one of them got injured and they just told the other one just chill back until
Yeah,
he gets good.
it was a strange situation with them, but.
And then dude comes back and they win tag team of the year, even though one of them's been injured for like almost the majority of the year, which makes no damn sense.
Let's go back
but
to Enzo and Cass for a second.
Yeah.
Do you think Enzo or Cass would work as a singles guy?
Maybe Enzo if you book him the right way, but I'm not sure. That's something I don't want to think about.
Let's look at the Dudley Boys when the Dudley Boys split up in the WWE. Devon, what was Devon?
I don't.
Right, you
That's
had
when he did, like,
Reverend.
his brother. Yeah,
you
right.
had Reverend
Yeah.
Devon or Brother Devon or whatever that was they were calling him, and he just couldn't get over.
Okay.
But he gets over just fine when he's in a tag team with Bubba.
There you go.
So I
That's supposed to
mean,
be.
you've got your guys that can't cut it as singles guys, and they need that someone to bounce off of in the ring.
I got you. Next question. Are you guys cool with the amount of debuts that happened this week in WWE? Or last week, I should say.
Define cool with.
Like you had Cruz come up the same week as Corbin and the Vaudevillains and Enzo and Cass.
Nakamura, if you want to count that.
I'm focusing, I guess,
on the
almost
main
on the main
roster?
roster.
Okay, cool.
That's 4 debuts.
So we're talking about, are we happy with the amount of debuts?
Yeah, does
or-
it seem like a bit much? Because normally they kind of spread it out throughout the year, but this is like, what, 2 tag teams and then 2 singles guys within.
I'm fine with it because I think the roster is lacking. I think so. I just don't. There's not much characters I can really get behind. They're just kind of the people like the Usos that they just bring out like, oh, we're supposed to like this dude. So like, I'm cool
They're
with
the
them.
fan favorite group. They're for the family. They're not.
But
like
yeah,
for
and the same thing with like Kalisto or something like that. They're just people that we're supposed to be like, this guy's a good guy, so like him. And we're just supposed to be cool with that, even though he has absolutely no personality. So when they bring out people like Corbin and Cruz and people I can really get behind, I'm all about it because it just makes watching a 3-hour show
Just
much
reminded
more
me,
enjoyable.
another tag team we forgot from earlier, the Lucha Dragons. So I guess that's like 8 or
Oh, yeah,
9
there
now.
you go.
But
If you want to
Yeah.
even consider them still a tag team, I mean, they're still doing stuff, but they're not really.
same could be said for the Ascension.
That's true.
And a whole bunch of other people I forgot. But yeah, you had Corbin, Cruz, the Vaudevillains, who were, debuted on SmackDown. Then you got Enzo and Cass. That just seems like a whole lot.
Well, maybe it's those winds of change that we've been talking about.
So you
Maybe they are prepping for this brand split and they're wanting to have a rich roster to split up.
Plus, it's also, you look at it, and with the likes of the Vaudevillains and Enzo and Cass and Corbin, these are guys that have been down in NXT for some time. These are guys that are
Corbin?
basically.
how long's Corbin been down there?
Corbin's been down there just as long, I believe, as Sammy was down there.
Yeah.
So you look at these guys that they're bringing up, and they're not guys that are like, with the exception of Cruz,
Yeah.
they're
Cruz seems
not
a
guys
little
that have been
premature.
like there for like
Yeah.
a flash in the pan second, and now they're on the main
Does
roster.
Cruz seem a little premature to you?
Like
yes.
I said, when they said that Cruz was going to be in a match on Raw, I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's like he was advertising a match at TakeOver, which apparently happened and wasn't even on the air.
Oh, really?
Apparently it was a dark match
With
him
him
and
too?
Samson that they built for weeks prior to. They didn't even show the
Oh,
match,
that's
and now he's on
right.
Raw. Like it was like
Yeah. I forgot about
it feels like
that.
it was a very last-minute decision. But I think it was also to get that surprise factor with, oh, Shane McMahon is taking control of Monday Night Raw.
If you really wanted to surprise me with Apollo Crews, you shouldn't have advertised it
Yeah.
right before. Apollo Crews debuts next on Raw. Don't do that. Just let it happen. Just let Tyler Breeze come out.
Especially if it was supposed to be in that vein of, okay, Shane McMahon is taking control.
Yeah.
What's he got up his sleeve? How are you going to advertise that? Like,
Yeah.
that you clearly know that
Just let
that's
Tyler
something
Breeze
that's got to
come
be
out.
predetermined.
Oh, Tyler Breeze is coming out. He's gonna get ready to lose to somebody again because they're not doing anything worthwhile with him.
Or
which
Tyler.
Is, right.
Yeah.
And
Or
then,
Tyler.
And then Apollo Crews comes out and it's like, whoa, but they didn't do that. And
Well, I think that's a reoccurring issue with returning guys and debuting guys is they want to hype everything. Do things like you have with AJ Styles, okay? Just have him walk out there. I don't think if they would have advertised that AJ Styles was going to be in the Royal Rumble, you wouldn't have gotten a third of that reaction.
yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%
But
agree.
the fact that he was walked into that building under a hood, kept in a bus all day, so even people that work there didn't know that he was there.
Yeah.
And then have him come out in the Rumble was insane.
Yeah.
And to see that happen in this day and age is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But it needs to be done.
Yeah. Let me ask you this next question, guys. Do you feel that some of the events that took place on Monday Night Raw negated the events that happened at WrestleMania in a negative way?
Only thing I could probably say is maybe the women's kind of segment they had where they had this awesome match with Sasha and Becky and Charlotte, and then they get out the next night and they look like they're going to put her in a program with Natalya.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of stepping back a bit.
I think it's Natalia's due right at this point.
Yeah.
I will say
agree with that.
I will say she is due, like, it's her time, but like I don't know, it just seems like there's such chemistry between them, and when Natalia, I can't really get behind Natalia because she's just like, Charlotte, I'm gonna beat you. Like she talks so terrible. So
She's a great ring worker, and I think she deserves another run with the belt.
Well, like, you know, behind the scenes, yes, I can acknowledge that, but like on the show, it's just I really can't get behind Natalia when she walks out. She's like, you know what, you're a bad girl, and I'm gonna beat you. Like she just talks so like it's scripted.
Yeah,
I cannot get behind Natalia like on screen.
I can see the merit in that.
Behind scenes, yes, of course, she deserves it.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to get behind her when she's on camera.
Steve, what about you?
So I've got a few gripes with what happened at Mania, basically being looked over on Raw.
Yeah.
AJ Styles losing to Chris Jericho, then winning a Fatal 4-Way to be the #1 contender. What? Let's look at Shane McMahon
how about
and Undertaker.
how about you just list your gripes
Okay.
first before we
so
delve
Shane
into
McMahon
them?
and Undertaker.
Okay.
Shane McMahon loses the match. Vince comes out and talks about how stupid he is, and then gives Shane control of Monday Night Raw.
Right?
What?
It's like, well,
After
what
he
you got?
just-
Let's go run with it. And then I'm like,
After he just smashed his baby picture and said, like, I've disowned you.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Run my company for a day.
Like, what?
so Styles, Vince and Shane. There was something else. I think you touched on the women's segment also.
Let's look at the League of Nations and New Day as well.
Yeah.
League of Nations beat New Day, and then they're on Monday Night Raw talking about how they have a weak link,
Yeah.
and then they boot out Wade
Wade
Barrett.
Barrett.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. You lose one match and now he's the weak link. You won a WrestleMania
They
match.
won at WrestleMania, exactly.
All right, guys.
Because of Barrett. Barrett's the one who hit him with the pool hammer and got him the win.
All right. So let's take a break. We're going to revisit this segment once again next week. I want to thank Steven and Mitch for joining me on this episode of Defiant Giant Live. We'll be back next week to finish this discussion, and be sure to let us know what you think of the show.
No music this time. Oh, there's the music.
Yeah.
That was a 20-minute show?
23 minutes.
Was that 23 minutes?
Yeah.